occupation arise in the localities where you're rooted?
2 weeks ago, we have every week we have a meeting of our leaders of the groups in our center in Rehovot. And 2 weeks ago, we decided to talk about this exactly because it's a very sensitive subject, because we have also people who have family in the settlements, people who wears yarmulke, yeah, and people who are like very lefty and thinks that Israel need to end the occupation 200 years ago, and something like that. And others have the right to come back to Jaffa and to Haifa and Sheikh Munis, it's Tel Aviv. So we opened it, and we started to learn about the settlement movement, how it was built, what is the values, and also the struggles in the settlement movement, because we're talking about the settlements, but it's not like the same things everywhere. There are a lot of people in the moment there is a deal, a peace deal, we'll say, okay, we will go back to Israel. So we learned about this. We saw like 3 movies about it, and we read some things. We decided to continue to talk about it, but we also took some things from the settlement movements, how they organized, how they changed the Israeli narrative. First of all, I think there's like a lot of good people there. Could be our partners, but in this issue we are very
divided.
Not divided. Us, me and Noam, like we have like a very boring.
Very clear.
Our vision of two states is very clear, and we talk about it. It's not our first topic, but when people get into the center and know who we are and things like this, get up, so we talk about it. Yeah. We don't hide who we are.
It's a very emotional thing to Israelis, because you have family members there. It doesn't matter from which side you are, if you're Palestinian or you're Jewish. You have family members in the settlements or other different villages on the West Bank, and I think a very emotional subject such as this that has to be dealt with very much sensitivity. And to open this up, just okay, you guys, today we're going to talk about the occupation. Let's go. People have so many different images of what it is, and it's so very unclear, because my family members live there, and my family members are from Jaffa and they want to come back to their home, and it's so very complex, and so to open it has to be dealt with very much sensitivity, and I think there isn't a better way to deal with it than to study about it, to learn about it, to learn the different very big spectrum of things happened since '67 till these days, and we're not avoiding it at all, but I think a lot of people has to they go through first taking care of their local interests and then broadening it. And so I think one of our goals is to take care of the local interests and then broadening the people's minds and responsibility to the future of Israel, which is ending the occupation. So it goes on. I mean, it's
you heard about the women makes peace parade?
Yes.
So because we are organized in Rehovot, we have few participants who was very supportive in this movement. So they organized 2 buses from Rehovot to this parade. Okay, this is the means of when you are organized and you're not alone in your home. You have the networking to be activist in every subject.
And also we think there is like, when you change the politics culture in Israel in the local place, and you say, okay, people from the Likud and the Avoda and Meretz and Reshima Meshutefet, okay, like all the variety of miflagot, of parties, sitting together as a human being, as a citizen, okay, and talk about like the dramatic issues that really impact our life. Okay, and you have a real partnership. Seriously, it's not just talk. Okay, you see in one circle sitting people that never imagined that they will be a partners. Okay, one of each other, and then you have enough trust to open the subject also. And people really, their mind are more open after, because It's not the television, it's not Israel Hayom, it's not, it's like a real conversation between citizens that want good for their life.
You wanted
I
to
like
ask?
the word trust that you used because that's foundational if you want to open.
How do you fund your programs? What's the
For
source
the
of
time
funding?
being, only Shomer Tzir Gomrak movement funded all of it.
It's
So you-
self-funded. We don't charge participants for fees. I mean, only simply. I mean, very, very, yeah, for participating. I mean,
Sure,
to get them
sure.
serious, but not.
But you're not volunteers. You're paid.
We're paid. Well, it's our day job,
Right.
but we don't do it for the pay, and we don't get paid as a normal day job that a normal person would probably get. We don't work that way. We have in the graduate movement, we have an economical system that supports us, so we can say this is what we see important in the Israeli society and just promote it.
They live in
So
a
you're
commune.
using
Yeah, we
your
live
own
in
money.
communes, and we.
So they live in a commune. So if somebody works as a teacher somewhere, then
That
their
money is
salary
pooled.
goes into
Yeah,
the
there's-
commune.
You're
But-
And then that
That's
allows
urban
her-
kibbutz.
using your
It's
own
an
money.
urban
Where you live,
kibbutz,
so-
Yeah,
right?
it's urban kibbutz,
Urban
exactly.
kibbutz,
I
yeah.
think if
Urban kibbutz.
our
Which is
vision,
also what makes it sustainable.
But also, it costs. I mean, we're not. We know how much it costs. I mean, to operate one center per year costs about, I think, $60,000 if I translate the numbers correctly.
$250,000 shekels.
Yeah, $250 million shekels. And we try to make collaborations. We just started to collaborate with the Social Economic Academy. I've heard you met
Robin
Dami.
Holland, yeah.
Yeah, we're very close friends. And we're trying to, get the money where it should.
Did you get your Israel Fund money?
Not to this project. We used to work with them, but they're not as interested as they used to be. They went very on the more occupational Arab Jewish topics, and they're not. We used to work with them a lot. We used to.
When you talk about, to take a step back to really your ideology about what Zionism is, when you think about it, do you believe in the idea of a Jewish state?
Yeah.
Is it possible to create a Jewish state that is also diverse, where Judaism is intertwined with the state, but also other religions and other peoples are equally respected?
Yeah, it's an easy question when you ask it like that. How to do it? That's very, very complicated. But I think the only way to be a Jewish state is to be a democracy. And the two are very, I mean, you ask every Israeli high school student, what's the biggest problem of Israel? It's the problem of being Jewish and democracy. A Jewish state and a democratical state, because the two obviously simply they collide. I mean, it doesn't mix together because either you prefer Jewish or you don't, either you're a democracy or you're not. But I think
So, and we met with, I'm now forgetting his name.
Yehuda.
Yeah, this idea of
Yehuda Glick.
Is there
Yay, so
yeah.
nice.
Fantastic man.
What do you say to
I
someone?
like his beard.
Yeah.
What do you say to someone who believes that there can be democracy, and democracy in the sense of giving everyone universal human rights, everyone equal under the law, but at the same time, it's still a Jewish state? What do you say to someone, rather than just saying it's a problem, because if you tell me it's a problem, I say, no, it's not a problem. I can give you universal human rights, but also still have a Jewish state that respects people. What do you tell them? How do you convince them? I mean, I have a younger generation agree with you, but if I'm a 60-year-old man who's been living my life this entire way, I look at my Arab neighbor and I can give him the rights that he deserves, and I love and respect him, but it's still a Jewish state. It's still for the Jewish people.
Well, I think for the first part, we have to have occupation in order to succeed, because we have, I mean, it wouldn't work any other way, but for my opinion. But I also believe very hardly that, well, to be Jewish in 2017, it's not what it used to be in, I don't know, 48, 67, whichever day you choose. It changed, and people change a lot most of the time, and this is, Judaism today is very different than it used to be, and it is very, a lot more complex. I think there's a lot more Zlamim, different
Diversity,
yes,
Pluralism.
yeah, a lot more plural in Israel, not in the States, not in different places, in Israel. I mean, and I think this is my answer to Yehuda Glick would be that me being Jewish is not less than him being Jewish. and I'm secular. I choose the holidays to celebrate, which I celebrate. I choose to light candles on Shabbat and say the Kiddush. I choose it because I'm secular, and what makes me Jewish are my choices, not my being born in a certain place. And this is also, I think, if you connect it to democracy, and it's the biggest topic of democracy in Israel, which is the connection between Judaism and the Jewish state, what you said is the solution, to give human rights, to give, I mean, it's not to give, it's a basic, I know, you deserve it. You don't give it, you deserve it. You don't give it, you don't give human rights.
People shouldn't be given human rights, they have human rights.
They have you,
Yeah. And
What
one
do you
last-
feel about the law of return, though? How do you feel about that? Should anybody? I
You
mean,
guys
I-
ask the most complicated.
I'm sure we do, yeah.
We can talk about it for hours.
No, it's great. I suggest. I mean, I think we can seriously meet for 1 hour just for this question, and it would be just the Hakdama, the
But you
introduction.
No, seriously. No, but I just want to give you the chance if there is like more thing that you want to know.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think because this is like the subject. So if you,
I have one more question.
for you, if you.
Yeah. You just said that you think that Judaism in Israel is more progressive. You just described a very progressive form of acceptance.
I didn't know. I think it is progressing. There are,
But so what do you think? What do you
A
think?
variety, you said, there is a greater
Yeah, there is.
variety rather
but
than.
the establishment is very Yeah,
It's growing. Okay.
It's growing. It's
progressing.
Evolving.
Yeah, it's evolving. Yeah. Sorry.
But I think
my
that if you
English
talk
is
about
not-
diversity, I mean, they represent it because they're the ones who bring it. I mean, they're the ones who just told you that they're including Ethiopian, trips to Ethiopia, where as my generation, the only narrative was the Polish. It's not even the Eastern European narrative because we didn't have a Soviet narrative of the Holocaust. We had only a Polish narrative of the Holocaust.
And now we also
which is significant.
we insert the former Soviet Union narrative also to our communities. We on the 31st of December we celebrated in my community. We celebrated the Navigod, which is the parallel to New Year's Eve. It's a very it's a citizen holiday, the only citizen holiday that used to be at the former Soviet Union. So we celebrated it because it's important to us to broaden the Zionism, the Zionist story that we believe in.
And there was a lot of stigma about Navigod.
Yeah.
It's important to say that there were,
Yeah, people believe that Navigod is to get drunk and.
Or no, not just that.
Or it
Like
was
that it's
Christian.
Christian.
Yeah,
That
it's
it was
Christian.
Christian. This is
Christian.
how they perceived, and a lot of I know like some of my Russian Jewish friends or my family, like they would get a backlash, like because they're celebrating what for them is a completely civic holiday, and it's the only thing that they kept from their culture in terms of like holidays. The only thing they had.
But to a very large extent, they're serving the Ethiopian immigrant community, the Russian immigrant community, the
Arabs in the Israeli
the Arabs, and the periphery poor. Right? I mean, the people that they're uniting, that they're putting together are.
We don't live in Tel Aviv. We live in Jerusalem, which is the most large and complex city in Israel. We live in Nahariya, in Kiryat Chaim, in Be'er Sheva down south. We live in Rehovot, we live in Rishon LeZion, Es Ziona. It's not Tel Aviv, it's not Haifa, it's not Jerusalem. I mean,
Socially
Jerusalem it is, but
economic
it's-
periphery.
Yeah, social economic periphery. Yeah.
Could I? Sure. You speak of the spectrum and the diversity of kinds of Judaism in Israel, which we've seen. But yesterday when we were speaking with Mr. Glick, MK Glick, he was sort of dismissing, a lot of possible models for the future of Israel because he insisted that demographics were on his side, and because the religious right has so many more children that they would be the majority and they would rule basically. And he says it would be just and equal, but eventually, but these things take time. But his vision was of a future in which, in terms of sheer numbers of population, you had very, very sort of traditional observant people, and this it doesn't seem very modern. I know it's a phenomenon of modern Israel, but it seems like very traditional family structures, fairly patriarchal.